Ah,
Good
there I,
evening.
yeah, there he is. There he is.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Mark. It's an honor and a privilege to be on here. And I'll tell you, I've been going so fast these last couple months that you didn't even know it. I already went emerald, not ruby.
Oh, really? I don't know how I can't
You
keep up.
can't keep up, man.
Well, listen, before we get into all that good stuff, I kind of want to go back to the beginning with you because this is a chance, to talk with you. A lot of the people that are in, Stop Like Go probably do know you because of what you've accomplished in such a short period of time. A lot of people don't. And so I kind of want to let them share and hear your story a little bit. So again, I'm going to kind of walk you through all the way to fast forward to where we're at right now. But just briefly, can you kind of share with everybody a little bit about how you actually got started in the world of networking? I mean, something happened somewhere at some age in your life. So how did it all start?
Oh boy, it is one heck of a story. And that's what I really, really love about this industry. One of the many things is the stories that happen to ordinary people. Because back in 2004, when I first saw the industry, I
Yeah.
was a boat mechanic, a struggling man. I was, I think, 41 years old and in debt up to my eyeballs. Matter of fact, the day that I actually found network marketing, or it found me, or however it happened,
Yeah.
I found this company online and I wanted to join it. And at that time, Vicky and I were newlyweds, and I had $22 in my checking account and in
Wow.
debt up to my
22.
eyeballs.
Hey,
And, 5 credit cards maxed out or nearly maxed out. And just, I was at a rough point in my life, hating life.
yeah.
And I saw this industry and they said that, hey, you can get started here and join this thing and build a business, and there's unlimited income potential.
Mhm.
And as a boat mechanic, I never knew that existed, because I didn't have a college education. I mean, I barely got out of high school. And so when I saw this presentation and they're like, it doesn't matter your education, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter your background. All that matters is your work ethic, and you can earn an unlimited amount of income. When I saw that, I'd never heard anything like that in my life. And I just leaned in and my eyes got really big. It got my attention. And
Yeah.
that was how I found network marketing. And when I first started, gosh, I failed miserably because I didn't bring any skill set to the table.
Who
I,
does
I
it first? Who
yeah,
does it first?
I had no special skills. I was, at a bad point in life, grumpy and negative. I didn't know God then. I hadn't been saved. And I was a different man back then, but something told me to pursue it. I'm like, something's telling me in my gut, this is my chance to get out of my 8 to 5 job and punch in that time clock as a boat mechanic. It was miserable. So I thought, this is my chance. This is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter your background. It's anyone can join and just go as far and as high as you want. And that's what got my attention.
Yeah, and you know what's amazing about that, Mick, is that's pretty much the way a lot of people start. I mean, that's what the same thing happened for me. I started the same way. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. I was so broke at the time. I remember when I first got introduced to the industry, I literally couldn't afford to put gas in my car. And if I was doing a meeting, because back in those days we did a lot of in-home meetings and stuff. When I was doing a meeting, I had to hide my car because I didn't want anybody to see it, because I was driving I mean, you talk about a rust bucket. It was a rust bucket. But here's what's amazing. It wasn't but a few years later I went from that rust bucket to a Ferrari, and I was still a kid. And it's from that point forward. And that's what I tell a lot of people. I never look back. And because of this industry, like you and like a lot of, never had a job because I don't consider this to be a job. So let's talk about a little bit about what it has done for your family. I know you got that start, but what has it actually done for you and your family to be a part of this industry and then we're going to get into why you ended up here at Stop Light Go. But let's still stay in the back in the history part of it for a little bit.
Okay. So I joined the company, put it on a credit card. I said, what's another couple $100? I'm already in debt up to my eyeballs, Let me give it a whirl. And joined the company and got to work and really had a rough time. And then I met Brig Hart, who is my mentor. I've known Brig now for almost 20 years. And I met Brig, and he had this support system. And I was just really attracted to Brig. You know, he was so successful, and I just really looked up to him. And one of the things I loved about him is he always led with God. He was always honoring God. And, you know, back then I believed in God, but I'd never met God, and I'd never, you know, made a decision in my life to be born again and be a follower of Jesus Christ. And Brig was the guy that he got me, man. I was at a meeting one time and he was up there talking. And this was before I met Brig. I showed up at this event like, I got to learn how to make money from this little hyper guy named Brig Hart, man. He's crazy. And so I went to this event in Tampa, Florida. Couldn't afford it. You know, Vicky's like, you're going to fly out there and spend all that money and this thing, it's not even working. I'm like, Vicky, something's telling me to go to Tampa, Florida. And I went out there and I was like this with my notepad, you know, and my pen. And I'm like, this dude's going to teach me how to get rich. That was my motive. And, you know, Brig, you've known him now for about a year. He started preaching up there, and that day, March 4th, 2006 in Tampa, Florida, I got saved. And that started my whole life began to change that day, obviously. And so then I just really plugged into Brig, and I said, you know what, even though I'm a 42-year-old man, I'm going to be humble, and I'm going to be teachable, and I'm going to do exactly what he says. I'm going to let him mentor me. And so I just followed Brig to a T, like exactly by his system. I didn't deviate from it. And one of the most important things, and I think really what holds people back in network marketing from getting the type of success they desire, is just the lack of consistency. And so I just stayed consistent. And it didn't happen quickly. Well, I shouldn't say that. From the day with $22 and I signed up and in debt up to my eyeballs, in 3 years, I was a debt-free millionaire. That's pretty fast.
Yeah, that's pretty fast, Vic. That's pretty fast.
It's not instantaneous.
We'll go for that. Anybody?
Oh, gosh. I just kind of relate it to working out at the gym if you want to build muscle or lose weight. You know, bodybuilding and weight loss, the reason most people, it never happens, they lack the consistency. If they would show up every day to the gym, they'll have the big muscles. It can't not happen. And this industry is kind of the same. The people that show up daily and just do a little bit, just
like
a
the
little
people
bit.
on this call, like the people in this call.
Like all of you on this call.
They'll take away some pearl, some bit of wisdom that will really make a difference in everything they do in life, not just in this business, but what they do in life. So yeah, so keep going. So
it adds up. What's one of my favorite quotes? Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Because like, let's say I go to the gym down here and I say, I'm going to become a muscle man. I'm going to pump iron. I'm going to get ripped. And I go down there for 3 or 4 days and I look in the mirror with my shirt off. I'm like, well, that didn't work. No, I didn't work. I had to keep going. And so this is the same. Those who show up, go up. It's so true.
And really, when you think about that, that's not that it's difficult. It's simple, because you're going to learn. Every day you're going to learn something. You're going to get a little better and you're going to have a little more success. And then finally, one day you kind of wake up and go, wow, I can do this easily. You know, I can do this. And most people don't think they can when they start, and then they find out that they can. So let's fast forward here a little bit. We're gonna fast forward a little bit to StopLightGo. Now, before I start asking some questions about StopLightGo, you know, one of the things that I found, and I've been in this industry, Mick, like you know, all my life, pretty much since I was young, just like yourself. You were a little older when you started, though, than I was, but because I started really young, because I got lucky. I got somebody that mentored me when I was 22 years old. and told me I could have anything in life I wanted. And I came from a very poor family, and he was my uncle, and he was very wealthy, and I loved him. And I'm thinking, and he lived in Richmond, Virginia, in a big White House. It looked like the White House. It was a mansion, you know. And so as a kid from a poor family, I'm going, wow, and I can do this? He says, sure you can. Sure you can. I'm thinking, but how? How? And he started me off with just reading some books. I don't care what books. He said, because it all starts with the mind, Mark. He said, and he said, I'm sorry to say, but you're being taught in school, but you're not being taught how to succeed in life. You're just being taught, things you need to learn, like how to speak English and how to add 2 + 2, and do a little, but you're not really being taught about life. And so he said, start reading books to start learning what you need to do from a mindset. So that happened. So I had that same kind of history. I think it's probably the same true for everybody else. But I want to digress on that, because what I want to talk about is, why you're here at StopLightGo. And one of the reasons, and again, I'm going to kind of think a little bit ahead of what you're probably going to say, but I know you as a person, I know Brig as a person, and probably and a lot of people, they ask this question, well, if the business is so good, why are you in a different company? Because that's why you should be where you're at, in that company that you were making a fortune. Well, here's what happens. And this is something, maybe a lesson for everybody that's on this call. I've always found it's not the people in the field, the distributors, that fail. It's the companies that fail. The companies let the distributors down. They don't do what they promise, or they start off doing it, and then all of a sudden, and I've seen this, where the people that are the owners of these companies are so greedy that when they start making any money, it's just like, I just want it for me. And they forget about why they started the business, what's it all about. And they forget about the people in the field. I actually believe in my heart and soul that we're building a legacy company here. One that the people that come in and join today, and this is important to me and to you and to Brig, and I think anybody that joins, is that it's a company that you can build. But the great thing is, what if you could actually leave it to your family and give them a legacy? I mean, that would be pretty special. And I think that's what we want to accomplish here. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. It's not easy. Matter of fact, what we're going to be talking about just a minute wasn't easy to do, but it's those little steps, like you said, that make a difference. So that's just my reason why I think you and Brig ended up here, because you thought maybe this company's a little bit different. But what was your reasons? What were your reasons for coming here to StopLightGo?
You know what, really, Mark, and what you just said, so true. I think companies have good intentions usually, and then things just change. It's like, things have a shelf life. Like, we all want the same thing in this industry. We want to get in one company that's legitimate and treats people fairly and stay with it for the rest of your life and will it to your kids. We all want that. Yeah. And that's very rare. So the reason I showed up though at StopLightGo was one reason only, and that was my relationship with Brig. Yeah. I have so much confidence in him, and he changed my life so much and the destiny of my family forever just by me meeting with him and letting him mentor me. And so when I got the phone call from him, it wasn't the best time. And I actually told him that, I said, I love you, man, but I can't do that right now. And that only lasted maybe, I don't know, 12 hours. And then I called him back. I said, okay, send me the info. Let me take a look at it. And it's, honestly, you hear a lot of times friends do what friends do, and it's true. That's the way it works. So if it hadn't been Brig, I don't know, I might not be here, but I thought, I know Brig's net worth or pretty close to it. He's a very wealthy man. And for him to take time out of his life and all his real estate projects and ministry and all the stuff he does all the time to focus on this, I'm like, there's something here. There's something here.
One of the things, and then I think you did make a great decision because of Brig. And Brig did a lot of the homework, everybody, because trust me, when Brig was thinking about joining here, he was one of the first, and he really drilled me. I mean, big time. Because he kept saying, Mark, yeah, can you imagine that? Can you imagine him doing that? And he says, look, if I come here, he said, I don't want to come here and do something, you're going to disappear on me. He says, I got to know you're here. You're going to stick it out. You're going to stay the course. You're going to do the right things. You're never going to lie. I remember he said, don't ever lie to me. I said, Brig, I promise you I'll never lie to you. I might make mistakes, but I'm never going to lie to you. And I said, because the one thing we want to do is we both are kind of preaching the same tune to each other. And that is that what we're both looking for is something that can be a permanent success for our families, and that's why I said that earlier about this being a legacy. I don't even think about it for myself. I actually think ahead to my kids. I want them, my grandchildren. I want them to have something that'll be theirs one day. And so to make that happen, got to do the work now. So you're here now. You're part of StopLightGo, and you've been building. And what we're going to do before we get into, because we're going to get into a little bit about your building and how you're doing it and how you've recruited and how you build, what your mindset is, what you teach. But before we do that, I think we got to make this big announcement. Okay, what do you think? Think it's time?
You know what? I've been excited a lot during these past few months, but nothing like today. What we're about to share here tonight, it's a complete game changer. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity for everyone that's on here tonight, or if you're watching this replay. It really is. This is going to come around one time and one time only.
Yeah.
The big deal.
It is a big deal. And again, I wanted everybody before, and I'm actually going to have Mick make the announcement, okay? Because a lot of this is happening because of the advisory board, which again, I love our advisory board because they're really, I think we have a very open board where everybody talks openly about the things they love, the things they don't like, their frustrations, their excitements. But a lot of this happened because, again, of talking a little bit with Mick and Brig, talking about this San Diego trip. How do we make this thing come alive? How do we make this San Diego trip something that nobody will ever forget and they're going to get excited about? So with that, Mick, I want you to do the honors. What are we doing about San Diego?
That what you just told me a minute ago is the easiest way to explain it. Go gold, go for free.
Go gold, go free.
That is the deal now, ladies and gentlemen. And so if you're in StopLightGo, or even if you're on here as a brand new guest, you've got 2 months plus, a few days to get yourself to the gold executive level. And when you do, you get a free trip, all expenses paid, out to sunny San Diego to meet up for the very first invitational StopLightGo incentive trip. So I'll tell you what, that's something that I can run with, because I'm all about, helping the team win. And I know we're going to break. I think we've got 13 or 14 golds currently. We're going to limit it to 30. That's what I mean. This is going to be an intimate, very special one-time invitational event, because Mark, this was really a big deal for you to pull this off, because I was thinking about it. Most companies, in order to earn a free trip where you don't dig in your pocket, you need to be a diamond, doing hundreds of thousands of volume in a month. This is gold executive, StopLightGo family. Gold. You can do it. It's 9,000 in volume in a whole month.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped, man. Mark, I was thinking, well, it's summertime. We got July and August. Kids will go back to school in September. I might just, in July and August, just kind of spend those 2 months in my pontoon boat with my kids and really just kind of leave my subscription going at StopLightGo and kind of ride it out. And then we'll get back rolling again in the fall. And now it's on, baby. I am all in. Yeah. I'm going to help some people go gold. Yeah. And we're going to come together in San Diego. We're going to break bread. Yeah. We're going to high five, shake hands, hug. And those meetings that happen like that are one of the biggest things that you could do to succeed in your business, is qualify for these events. That's where
you can only do it this one time, man. We can only have the first leaders event one time. And we're going to have them, for 50 years to come, but they'll only do the first one time. And it's going to be this one in San Diego. So it is going to be special. It'll be in the history books for this company, and the people that attend. We're going to make sure that it's a trip they'll never forget. It's going to we're going to make it really, really special. And we're excited. I'm excited. I have more fun at something like this because it's a chance you get to meet everybody. I mean, even yourself, Mick, you probably maybe know half the golds that show up. You won't know the other ones, and I know less than that. So this is going to be great. So go gold, go free. We'll put out all the information. So what'll happen is it's not about points anymore, guys. You just get the gold. Get the gold, you go free. And we'll put out all the details. So there's no question marks and stuff. We're even paying, by the way, it's not just the trip and the events and all the stuff there. We're even paying transportation. What we'll do, there'll be a budget on the transportation, but it'll be enough to get anybody from probably flying from anywhere in the United States. So we're going to make this thing spectacular. So that's it. Go
You
gold.
rolled
go
out
free.
the red carpet, Mark. Oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
huge.
Oh yeah,
cannot
Mick,
wait.
you came up with this side. You came up with this idea. Don't forget what we're going to tell them about the leaderboard we're going to put up, because it's going to be It's going to be in your back office. We're going to develop that, but maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So right now, when you click, it shows who's got the most points on the point system. Because before you were going to you qualified, but then you had to pay to go. You had to pay for the transportation, you had to pay for everything, and then you got a little money back from however many points you generated. That's going away. And now there will be 1 through 30 slots on there. It'll have the people that have already qualified for gold. And then after the 14th one, it'll be question mark, question mark, question mark. And guess who goes in there? You.
That's right. We fill you in. Every time there's a new one, we're going to fill you in, fill you in, and fill you in. And obviously now with the rank up button and everything else, there are people know how close they're getting. So if they're really close, that's in their back office. They've got that now. Again, we just want this to be a spectacular summer. So between, go free, the summer campaign, the rank up buttons, guys, I think we've got a pretty good thing in place for this summer. And so we're excited. I know Mick's excited, Brig's excited, everybody on the advisory board. So let's just make this thing happen. So now let's get back. Since we got you here, Mick, because what I want you to share right now, I want you to share a little bit about how you build a little bit. And I know you build a little bit differently than some. You build probably differently than Brig. As a matter of fact, one of the things I love about this business, everybody can build the way they're the most comfortable. Everybody has a kind of a feel for how I can do this thing. But the more ways that you learn, the more successful you're going to be too. Because sometimes you got to go a little bit maybe outside your box and go, well, why shouldn't I try that? Let me see how that works for me. So I know you've got some long-term goals. I was going to get into that, but let's get into building a little bit right now first. So as a person that really has been very successful at building, just kind of share about what you do and your mindset, and some of the most important things. And I know a lot of people in this call have probably heard some of this, but a lot of you have not. So if you would, Mick.
You know what, Mark? I kind of blend high tech and high touch.
Yeah.
And even at my age, I'm 61, but I'm still constantly learning and keeping up to speed with what's going on in internet marketing, just because it's a fact of life. It's the world we live in today.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to learn it. And so I just continue to invest time in learning new skills and from people that are making it happen in and outside of the industry. Because one of the hottest things right now, and you can back it up by Googling it, just go do your own research, is short form video. 60 seconds or less.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because that's what we're working on, right? So let's talk about
that. It's a known fact in 2024 that is the biggest bang you can get for your marketing is short form video. And a lot of people, Mark, are kind of nervous about getting their phone and talking into it. And we're our own worst critics. I am too. I look at them like, gosh, look at my skin, man. I got a pimple over here. Gosh, it's just the way we're wired. But I do it anyway. Because it's so effective. And I know that it's more me looking at myself like that and being a critic than most people. And so there's a couple of ways a guy can do it. Like I show my face most of the time, but you can also do faceless short form videos, and they're very effective too.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, I could have this bag of acai and kind of have my phone and just do like a 6 or 7 second video of it. And then I edit it and put text over the top of it so you can kind of see the bag in the back. So it causes curiosity. And I generate so many leads doing that. I'm like, I was just
And
telling
how do
Brig.
you post how do you post those leads? A lot of people don't know how you get them. So how do you post them to get leads? I mean, you just where do you put them?
Social media.
Just
Yeah,
so
me personally, I'll make one. Like I made one earlier today. I put it on Facebook. I put it on Instagram. I put it on YouTube Shorts, and I put it on TikTok. So
yeah.
every time I make one, I put it on all those social media outlets.
Uh-huh.
And that content is now working for me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forever. It
Yeah.
never goes away. And guess what it cost me? Nothing.
That's a good number.
Zero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so and when you do that, obviously when you post that, sometimes you do what? Sometimes you do a short form video on what? On product. Sometimes you do it on opportunity or compensation.
Yeah, I keep them separate.
Okay.
So if I'm going to do product, I don't talk about the opportunity. If I'm going to talk about the opportunity, I don't talk about the product. So I keep them separate.
Right.
Two different topics. And there's a formula, that I teach that is proven and effective, and it's a 4-part formula. And the 4 parts are hook, present value, build up, call to action, and CTA.
Right.
So at the end, you always have a call to action, point people where to go, what to do next, and you got to do all that in 60 seconds.
Right.
So it's or less, and it's for it to classify as a short form video. So there's a little learning curve to it, but my gosh, if a 61-year-old guy can figure it out, I think anybody can. And I was talking to Brig in July. I'm going to do what's called power hours, and I'm going to have it to where each morning for an hour, I actually do my marketing live, and people can just look over my shoulder and just kind of copy what I'm doing because it's working.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That'll be fantastic because that's again that's going to help the people that you bring in to grow and build and again now and kind of just to kind of complete the story, the cycle, because I find this fascinating because again I'm probably more old school. Okay, that's just because I come from that world, and but I think what you're doing is so smart because it is today's world. It's really how people look at things today, and my wife's a good example. She's got her phone and she's doing this, like you were saying, and if it doesn't catch her attention, she's just going. Then if she sees something, but you're right, it has to catch her attention, and usually her attention span is going to be anywhere from 15 seconds to maybe a minute. Depending if it's something she really liked, but she'll start. If she doesn't like it in the first 5 or 10 seconds, it's right. Just keep on going, and then she sees and she starts to look, and she likes it. And the next thing I know, something is showing up in my doorstep because she saw something that she liked, and she liked what they were saying, and so she bought it. And so it works, and
that's how it works.
Second, so.
Yeah.
So kind of complete that story of what happens. So somebody goes in, they see one of your videos. What happens next?
Well, there's a few different call to actions you can use. I really like using technology, even though I do some high touch too. I mean, we had 16 people over here last night for Taco Tuesday, and trust me, the acai plus was a topic. So I still do in-homes too, but I utilize technology as much as I can. And I like to use email marketing, and because we know the fortunes in the follow-up, and most people struggle with consistency and they struggle with follow-up.
Right.
That's a known fact.
I think.
Oh gosh, there's no doubt. So what I do is I like to automate it where if you landed on my short form video, it stopped you in your scroll, and I said, hey, go to this website to learn more, and you go there. I have a video of what I'm talking about with more detail because I only had 60 seconds to get your attention over here. And then I take you to like one of my recorded morning calls or something, opportunity calls, and then a button under there, and they click on it. It takes them right to the Acai Plus StopLightGo website so they can join. Yeah. And then my email autoresponder is following up daily with automated emails that I pre-write. Right. And it's got code in it and links and all that. So
one of the things we're going to do working with you and the advisory board is to put together a lot of these tools too for people so they can do it a little bit easier. I mean, because again, you've got years of working and doing it and fine tuning it and stuff. And I know you said, just like, Scott's got some things. We all have things we want to share. So we're going to be building a lot of this stuff, for everybody to be able to use. We're already starting with the landing pages and that types of things, but we're going to get better and better at this. And I do like what you're talking about. Now, we've been on here a lot longer than I thought. So obviously, guys, we're not doing the business presentation tonight. So, because I'm going to wrap this up with Mick, but I'm going to just a couple more quickies here, Mick, and then we'll wrap it up and let everybody go home. But I hope you'll go home and go to sleep. I hope what you do is you lay there in bed tonight and you think about go gold, go free, go gold, go free. Matter of fact, if you say that to yourself enough times, my guess is you'll go gold and you'll go free. That's what'll happen, because you kind of program yourself to get there. And I love that. I mean, I always say, guys, you can program yourself to do anything you want in life. You can program yourself to be the most successful person that's ever lived on planet Earth, or you can program yourself to be the guy living under the bridge, And that's the sad truth in life. And so it's really, in life, whatever you end up with, that's what you programmed right here. Whatever you end up in life, that's what you put between your ears, and that's what you believed every day of your life. And that's where you got what you got. So when you want to change it, you can change it. Anybody can. You did it, Mick, when you were, you said living on a credit card you couldn't probably afford to pay, right? And you changed and never looked back.
We pay the bare minimum every month.
I took my rust bucket car, I couldn't put gas in, and I changed my life because I didn't want that for my life. I wanted something different. So just to wrap it up, Mick, and we'll end it with this. So what is your long-term goals here at StopLightGo? And you can kind of, let's wrap it up and close it out for tonight for everybody.
Mark, I've lived 20 years now without a job, and my kids have had a stay-at-home dad that whole time. To me, that is priceless, and it's not as rare as it used to be. It used to be very rare. Dad always worked, but now technology's changing that quite a bit. But my goal is, I know there's people out there right now that are where I was 20 years ago, just ready to give up, just frustrated and feeling beat down, and just thinking there's no way out. I'm going to do this the rest of my life and just be miserable. And I know there's people out there thinking that right now, and I want to help them. I want to show them this model here. I mean, your vision, it's starting to come to fruition. What Frederick and Scott showed tonight in the one shopping cart, where you can log in to the StopLightGo Premier Members Benefits Program and just shop from all these stores and put it in one basket and check out one time and a box shows up. That's huge. So I believe in your vision. I know where you're headed. And I want to be part of it, and I want to help people have success in their life, and not just financially, but, physically, and from the products. And because I think
your spiritual is most critical of everything. But I think the same thing. What I always think about is, when I'm thinking about bringing somebody into business, and I know they work for a living, my one thought was, how do I get that person out of rush hour traffic? How can I get that person to never have to look at rush hour traffic again? Because if we could do that for everybody, we'd have the biggest business on planet Earth.
No doubt, man.
Because there's a lot of rush hour traffic on the 405 in LA. And I look at that and I'm going, why? All you folks shouldn't be on that 405. You should be home with your family, like you say, with your kids, and making a tremendous living. And we can do that.
Oh, man. So it's possible. And you just have to, you touched on mindset. It's all mindset.
Yeah.
If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So you have to learn how, when you have those negative thoughts in your mind, to change them to, yes, I can. Yeah. And I'll give you a good example. My son, Luke's 15. He's really getting into golf. He's on the Lakeland High School golf team, and he wants to be good so bad. And, he'll step up and he goes, Dad, they keep going right. I know I'm going to hit this right in those pine trees. And I'm like, you're right. And he looks at me like, Luke, if you think that's what's going to happen, you got to step up and look at that dumb little white ball and go, I'm going to strike you right down the middle.
Right.
So I'm teaching him, train your mind.
Good.
You got to train your mind.
Ladies and
It's
gentlemen, this has been a fantastic interview with Mick, and I hope this was a great evening for everybody. We've gone plenty long enough tonight, so I don't think we need to do any chats here. I'm watching the chats popping up. If there's one or two maybe that are real important that you got asked tonight, Dave, that we should cover, we'll do that. But if not, we're just going to wrap this thing up and say goodnight to everybody.
Yep, I think we're
one,
good, guys.
one more thing. There's 16 of those coveted positions of gold executive. Go gold, go free. Who's going to go? Raise your hand. Come
let's
on.
end it at that. Let's end it at that. I know I'm going. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. I know you're going to be there, Mick. All right. Go gold, go free. See everybody next week. Thank you,
God bless.
Mick. God bless everybody. Good night.